This is Algebra 1, Semester 1. It's the first unit called Equations, and it's the fifth lesson within that called One-Step Equations. It's on creatormath.com under the Algebra 1 tab. You might have to Google creatormath.weebly.com to find the site. The instructions are copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. So, model that for you really quickly here. Here's the name of the website, creatormath.weebly.com. When you Google it, you should arrive at this homepage, hopefully, as long as you get there. Please remember that all the instructions for the composition book are on this homepage under the giant letters composition book and the picture of that, right? Make sure you watch all these videos, follow all these due dates, and follow all these instructions. You should have a 90 to 100% on your comp book. We need the notes for algebra, so we're going to go to the Algebra tab. All of the notes, videos, lessons, problem sets, and of course vocabulary are under this tab, Algebra 1. This is the PDF with all vocabulary words used the entire year of Algebra 1. Please make sure you can open that, save it to your device, and make sure you Google how to search a PDF with whatever device you're using. I'm going to scroll to the table of contents for the semester I'm in. Please don't mix that up. That'll cause a lot of confusion. This particular video is for semester 1. Here's the table of contents. All of this table of contents, it's about 3.5 pages long, should have already been copied by you on pages 2 through 6 of your comp book. If you haven't done it yet, stop what you're doing. Watch the videos on how to number the pages and the videos on what a great comp book looks like back on the home page. Now we're going to scroll to the unit. This is the unit on equations. We're on lesson number 5. Notice that there are how many total? 9. Looks like 9 lessons. We're on number 5 right here. One-step equations. These are the page numbers that these notes go on in your comp book. Please don't take this video's word for it, but go back and find the original table of contents at the time you're watching this, because by the time you do watch it, these page numbers will probably be different. I'm going to click Notes. Fair warning, it can take a couple times to open for me, so probably for you. This is pages of notes. Sometimes it's a picture of the board, sometimes it's a picture of notes. You're going to copy these notes into your composition book on the pages we already discussed. That is going to help you solve the equations. These are one-step equations, so I'm going to roll right into some of the samples of the problem sets. So I'm going to rewrite most of these because it's a little hard to see. This is 4 pi h equals 36 pi. First of all, an equation has a center line right down the equals. It has a left side and a right side. Whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other, and our goal is to isolate the variable that we're interested in. Most of the time, that's x, and I love to use x because other times I use letters, they start to look like other shapes, all right? So, in this case, the only variable that's here is the h. The pi is a little confusing for students, but notice it's on both sides of the equation. I can cancel anything that's on both sides of the equation and just disappear it. The subtraction method of doing it would be if I subtract pi from this side, I would do it to the other side too, and pi minus pi is 0, gone, and pi minus pi is 0. Okay, so 2 ways you can think of to remove the same item from both sides of an equation. That would leave us with 4h equals 36. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And h equals 36 divided by 4 is 9, right? 4 times 9 is 36, right here. And I was just thinking, is this really a one-step? It looks like we did 2 steps here in all fairness, all right? You know, the idea of one step is you do one thing and the thing's solved, right? So that might actually be a 2-step. This is negative 8. H equals 32. All we have to do here is divide both sides by negative 8. And these cancel out because negative 8 over negative 8 is 1. 1 times h is h. And 32 divided by negative 8 is a negative 4. Remember, we can plug back in the negative 4. So if you take negative 4, plug it in back here for the h. Is negative 8 times negative 4 positive 32? Yes. Check. Notice that this value is being multiplied by the h. So what did we do to remove it from this h and isolate the variable? Isolate means to get that h alone. Because it was being multiplied by a negative 8, we divided by a negative 8. What we did to one side, we had to do to the other. That made this negative 8 over negative 8 is 1, so you got 1 times h, right? And this just did the math, the computation of 32 divided by negative 8 for negative 4. So this is c minus 1.5 equals 1.1. Since this is a subtracted 1.5 from the variable involved, we say add 1.5. Why add? Because it's opposite subtract. What we do to one side, remember there's a center line here, we must do to the other, plus 1.5. So this disappears because a negative plus itself goes to 0. The c is left. And we have a 1.5 plus a 1.1, 2.6. All right. This is an s right here plus a negative 20 equals minus 19. Students often get confused with this kind of thing. They're like, is it a negative or a subtraction? To me, they seem like the same thing. So this could be s minus 20 equals negative 19. Isn't plus a minus really just minus? It is. I mean, in case you don't know. Since this is a subtracted 20, I'm going to add 20 to both sides. S equals 20 minus 19 is 1. All right, solve the equation negative 15 equals d minus 9. All right, so this is a center line. We're trying to get the d alone. We don't care if it's on the right side. It's okay. Equations work. You know, they're balanced. You can flip them either way. We could easily write d minus 9 equals negative 15. That's totally illegal. Notice we flipped. This side came to this side, this came to this. And technically speaking, the equals literally flipped. Technically speaking, because if you're into a greater than or less than, you want to see that flip too when you flip the entire statement. All right, so let's add 9 to both sides. Why did we add 9? Because it was subtracted over here, and we want this to go to 0. So d equals negative 15 plus 9. Negative 15 plus 9 is negative 6. Negative 15 plus 9. Is that a negative 15? Is that an 8? So plus 9 on both sides, negative 15, negative 6. I think this should be negative 6 here. So that one down there, I believe. Unless I'm doing it wrong. Nope, I got this. Yep, I got that. Plus 9, negative 6. I'll fix it by the time you get to that. Okay, students? So don't worry about that. So we've got a k divided by 5. So k over 5 equals minus 4. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Because we divided by 5, we multiply both sides by 5. Gone, because 5 over 5 is 1. K equals negative 20. Because negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Negative 4h equals minus 32. Divide both sides by negative 4. We had one just like this, but it didn't have a negative 32. So h equals, negative is a positive now, and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So h equals positive 8. K divided by negative 9 equals 7. What do we do? This is divided by negative 9. What's the opposite operation? Multiply by negative 9. So these are gone, and k equals negative 63. Negative 9h equals negative 27. Because it's being multiplied, we want to do the reverse, which would be divided by negative 9. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So this becomes 1. 1 times h is h, and negative is a positive, and 27 divided by 9 is 3. So h equals positive 3. Solve the equation. K over negative 10 equals negative 6. We're going to multiply by negative 10 on both sides. Why? Because now the 10 over 10 cancels out. So this was divided, we did the opposite, multiplied. And this equals k is here. A little bit messy, sorry about that. K equals negative times negative is positive, 6 times 10 is 60. So given the equation, this one, what is the first step in solving for h? So, I mean, we just did this one. This was the first problem we did. 4 pi h was equal to 36 pi. We canceled the pi from both sides. Cancel the pi from both sides because anything that appears on both sides of an equation can be canceled from both sides of the equation. The result is 4h equals 36. Check. And I might have appreciated part of the answer here being, you know, by using the subtraction rule, right? By using subtraction, which is what we showed in that first one. That's like minus pi and minus pi on both sides gets these to cancel, right? So by using substitution or subtraction rule. All right, might be something else we could have said there that would be a little bit more helpful. Okay. Given negative 8x equals 36, the first step is to divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8. So how about divide both sides by negative 8? Make sure you're matching up the title of this video, Algebra 1, Semester 1, Equations. This is the 5th lesson, one-step equations, with the practice set you're doing so you can match up the problems, right, and get the explanations you need. Hope that helps.